Hey guys, how are we doing? I hope you're having a great Friday. So, I'm just going to jump right in there. We're talking about confidence today. So, there are 12 cranial nerves, the nerves in your head and your face that kind of control movement and all your senses. I can name them for you if you like: olfactory, optic, oculomotor, trochlear, trigeminal, abducens, facial, vestibulocochlear, glossopharyngeal, vagus, spinal accessory, and hypoglossal. 12. I remember learning this about 15 years ago and wondering why I was doing it, right? Like I knew good and well no patient was ever going to ask me, please name all the cranial nerves, right? But here's the deal: knowledge in medicine is valued as the best thing you could possibly have. And in the regular world as well, knowledge is becoming something that kind of makes you seem more important, gives you better respect, and kind of makes you just be able to get where you want to go better. So, if you don't know me, sorry, I'm Dr. Ashley. I'm a general pediatrician, and I love talking about marketplace ministry, basically how God calls us to walk out the jobs that we're in every day and do them excellently. So, doing that is going to require some true confidence. And the thing is, knowing information, just having a lot of information, is not the same as being an expert. I've been watching the show Suits, the old show. I had never watched it before. But essentially, it's about this kid who's like really smart and he's been taking the LSATs for people and passing. And so he gets hired by this law firm to be a lawyer. And it's a great little concept, I guess, but I think really insulting to lawyers because let's be real, being able to take a test and being able to work a job are two very different things, right? So even if you know something, it doesn't necessarily make you an expert. So how do you get confidence and true knowledge that kind of really help you do your job and do it excellently? So Genesis 1:26 has been a recurring study for me. And God's been using it to kind of remind me that sometimes the things that I learn don't matter nearly as much as I pretend that they do. So bear with me. When I got sick when I was in residency, I had bacterial meningitis with brain damage, essentially. So I had a lot of trouble thinking, and I had a lot of trouble doing things quickly. I was just a little bit slow. It was hard for me to recall knowledge like the cranial nerves. It just took me longer than it did for someone else. So when I would get responses back, feedback, it was always, she needs more confidence. You need to be more confident. And I knew what they meant was you need to like confidently say these things and just randomly share your knowledge with us. That's how doctors show that they know what they're doing. But I didn't have that ability to pull things really quickly and show off like that. I didn't anymore. So I didn't really know where to get that confidence from because, to be fair, it just felt like I was lying, right? Like, I can't pull anything from anywhere, so I don't know what you want me to be confident in. So Genesis gave me some clarity as to what the real issue was, what the heart of the matter was. So Genesis 1:26 says, "Then God said, let us make mankind in our own image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move on the ground." So God made us in his own image. That phrase there, in his own image, it's translated as tselem in Hebrew, which basically means like resemblance or reflection of something greater. So the way that they translate it is literally tselem means idol. So that means we were created to be God's idol. So generally speaking, that word idol doesn't mean much to us now, right? Like we don't really have idols. Maybe American Idol, and like whoop de doo, I like posted some pictures of someone on my wall. I know good and well that they're not involved in my life and they don't have any kind of power in my actual life. But that's not the point that's being made in this particular passage. The way they understood idols back then is that idols were imbued with power. So that little piece of paper would have the authority and the ability to make decisions and the ability to kind of run things. It was literally the right hand man of, it was the representation of the actual God. So that means that God created us to be like him, to be able to create and rule over and reign and do incredible things. So I love that because it means that God didn't make a bunch of minions to like rule in his factory, right? Like we had decisions to be able to make. We had freedom. And it also means he didn't make a 1.0 version that was going to be replaced with something better later on. It means he made us to be like him. So it meant that from the beginning of time, we were created and anointed and blessed to be his ambassador, his representation, his right hand man right here on earth. And then after that, we can take that anointing and that ability and go bless and take care of the rest of the world. Far too often, what we do in the real world is we switch the order. We say, I'm going to do all these things, I'm going to get all these skills, I'm going to build up all this knowledge, and that is how I'm going to get my identity, and I'm going to be fine. We make our doing more important than our identity, and we make what we can prove or what we can show off way more important than ourself. But because I have come to the end of my abilities so many times in my life, especially with meningitis, I realized that God was not saying you are never going to have confidence again, or that you can't have any kind of true confidence anymore. I just had to take what I could do and what I could write, and instead put my trust in Him. My trust and my confidence in the fact that He had given me an identity. And even if I couldn't be perfect, and even if I couldn't remember every single detail of the cranial nerves or whatever, and even if I couldn't do everything the exact way that I wanted to be able to, I was still His. And being made in God's image doesn't go away, even when your brain is totally broken, even when you mess up, even if you don't understand everything perfectly or not. Everything stays the same. You will always be His. So Jesus knew this well as well. He obviously was the perfect representation of God, which we cannot do well. But more than anyone else, he really helped his disciples to understand what was most important. They kept thinking it was getting next to God's right hand, or looking most important in the group, doing the most important miracles. Right? It wasn't about what they did, what miracles they did. It wasn't even about whether or not they had followed or understood the law perfectly. He made that clear more than once. Their actions didn't matter if their identity wasn't set. And so we have to watch ourselves too. The same way Jesus encouraged them, he encourages us. We can't value the things that we learn in class or in our jobs or in our lives more than we value who created us. God created us to be. Now, it's not that our actions and our studies don't matter. God definitely hears us and approves of us bringing our own excellence. It's just that they can't define who we are. They will never be able to determine our worth and give us a lasting confidence that never goes away. So it's the truth we have to remember to build from every time. My identity doesn't lie in what I do, but what I do has value. And thankfully, I get to do incredible things. And more than that, thankfully, I can rely on my all wise, never changing, all knowing God to get me through any day. And that's a confidence that will never go away. So I hope that encourages you today. If you're thinking of trying to build your own confidence or trying to get some direction for your life, take a look at my handout on making your own vision statement. It really helps you, one, narrow down what your specific skills are, and two, how God can use those, and three, starts getting you some direction as to what to do next. And if you have any questions, always definitely let me know. All right, guys, have a good one.